Ever heard about the dark side of desire? Not yours, hers. Let's talk about hypergamy and why it might just explain everything that's gone wrong in your relationships and maybe your life. You wake up one morning and she's gone. No note, no message, just silence. You ask yourself, what did I do wrong? The truth, you probably didn't do anything. You just became someone she didn't want anymore. Hypergamy isn't some red pill buzzword. It's not misogyny wrapped in pseudo-intellect. It's reality biologically coded into the female psyche over tens of thousands of years. At its core, hypergamy is a simple evolutionary mechanism, a woman's tendency to seek the highest status man she can attract and retain. That word, retain, is key, because it doesn't matter who you were when she met you. If who you are now is less powerful, less respected, less driven, or less desirable, then her instincts start screaming, upgrade. And before you protest, not all women, you need to understand something uncomfortable. Hypergamy isn't conscious. It's not a spreadsheet with columns of salary, height, jawline symmetry, and deadlift max. It's subconscious. It's felt. It's primal. Just like your drive to protect, to conquer, or to reproduce. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why a woman who once adored you, who told you she'd never leave, suddenly started pulling away the moment you hit a rough patch, lost your job, lost your confidence, started questioning your purpose? That's the moment she stopped looking at you like a man and started scanning the horizon for someone who made her feel secure again. It hurts, but it makes sense. In the chaos of the ancestral wild, a woman's survival depended on choosing the most capable man, the strongest, the one who could hunt, protect, lead. Because her choice didn't just affect her, it affected her children. Fast forward to today, same instincts, just different predators. The jungle is now social media, status games, and cultural clout. And women, consciously or not, are still wired to seek out the apex male. This isn't about hatred. It's about understanding the rules of the game so you stop playing the fool in it. Because once you see hypergamy, you can't unsee it. You start to recognize the shift in her eyes when you lose momentum. You feel the withdrawal when you stop striving. And suddenly, her unconditional love doesn't feel so unconditional anymore. But before you get bitter, pause. Because this revelation, it's not a curse, it's fuel. Let's strip this down to the bones of human behavior. Long before dating apps and Instagram filters, our ancestors were battling for survival. Life was brutal, dangerous, short. And in that world, a woman's reproductive success depended on one thing: choosing the best man possible. Not the kindest, not the funniest, not the one who tried the hardest. The best, the most capable, the most dominant. The man who could defend, provide, and, let's be honest, win. Because if she chose wrong, her children might starve, be killed, be ostracized from the tribe. So evolution, being the savage that it is, wired her brain to scan for indicators of male fitness, not just physically, but socially and psychologically too. And what does that mean for you? It means hypergamy isn't personal. It's not about you not being enough. It's about whether, in her subconscious mind, you are still the best option she can realistically attract. Now, this is where most men get it wrong. They think love is about loyalty, about support, about effort. But nature didn't program women for loyalty. It programmed them for survival. If a better man comes along and she believes she can get him, her body and brain will start whispering, "Go, don't believe me, look at the data." Women file nearly 70% of divorces. The most common reason cited: he changed, which often means he lost status, he lost direction, he stopped leading. In the tribal world, that man would have been overthrown or left behind. In today's world, he gets ghosted. And here's the kicker. Even though our world has evolved, our instincts haven't. A man today still has to signal strength, capability, and status. Only now, it's not about slaying tigers. It's about navigating money, social capital, confidence, and influence. And women are still subconsciously selecting for those traits. Now, pause and ask yourself something. Have you been betrayed, ghosted, or grown apart from a woman right after you lost your edge? Have you watched her fall for someone clearly less moral but more driven, more unapologetic, more magnetic? You're not crazy. That was hypergamy at work. And here's the bitter medicine you have to swallow. Evolution doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about survival. And if you want to stop being crushed by female choice, you have to stop pretending it plays by your rules, because it doesn't. Let's take hypergamy and throw it into the modern world. You've got Instagram, TikTok, dating apps, OnlyFans, a culture that worships status and sensationalism. And now, instead of being limited to the best man in her tribe of 50, she has access to millions. Hypergamy didn't vanish, it scaled. Today, a woman can post a photo and get likes from men in Dubai, New York, and London in under 30 seconds. So if you think you're just competing with the guy down the street, you're wrong. You're competing with every man she thinks she could have, every blue check, every crypto bro, model, or influencer sliding into her DMs. And here's the brutal part. Her perception of what's normal is distorted beyond recognition. In this new dating economy, a 5 out of 10 woman with a pretty filter and 2K followers feels like a celebrity. A guy who makes $80,000 and has values is just okay. And a man who works 9 to 5 has dreams but no followers. He's invisible because social media has inflated status the way governments inflate currency. It used to be that being a good man meant something. Now it barely moves the needle unless it comes with status, style, and scarcity. In other words, if she doesn't feel like she's trading up by being with you, she's already mentally swiping right. And here's where things get twisted. Women say they want a kind, emotionally intelligent man. They tell podcasts they're looking for a good communicator, but then they chase the guy who doesn't text back, who keeps them guessing, who makes them feel insecure, because he signals value through scarcity. That isn't evil, that's hypergamy with a Wi-Fi connection. Now, let's talk about the cost for men. Men are reporting higher levels of loneliness, frustration, and resentment than ever before. Why? Because the rules of engagement have changed, but no one told you. Your dad might have told you to get a job, be respectful, and find a good woman. But he didn't grow up in an era where girls get flown out to Miami by strangers with yachts. You're living in a digital Roman empire where attention is the new currency and women are drowning in it. Meanwhile, you're told to just be yourself. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. In this new economy, average is the new invisible. And if you don't wake up to that reality, you'll keep playing a game that was rigged before you even stepped onto the field. Let's slow this down for a second, because by now you might be feeling angry, resentful, maybe even betrayed. And I get it. The idea that a woman can outgrow you the second you lose momentum, it feels cold, unfair, inhuman. But here's what you need to understand. Female nature is not evil. It's not a villain in some cosmic gender war. It's strategic. It's wired for survival, not just hers, but her children's. It's easy to demonize this when you've been the guy left behind. The man who gave her everything, only to be traded in like a phone 2 versions old. But if you strip away your ego and look through the lens of biology, you'll see the truth. Women are biologically incentivized to choose the best deal available. You wouldn't fault a starving man for choosing steak over breadcrumbs. So why do you fault a woman for choosing the man who makes her feel safer, sexier, more secure? Let's get brutally honest. If you're stagnating, shrinking, or settling, you're not giving her the emotional experience she signed up for. Women don't leave the moment you make less money. They leave the moment they feel like you've stopped ascending. Because hypergamy isn't purely about finances or looks, it's about trajectory. Are you rising or are you rotting? And here's the wild part. The very traits that hurt you in dating, her instinctive need to upgrade, could one day save your daughter's life. Let that sink in. If your daughter was choosing between two men, one powerful, protective and driven, the other nice, passive but mediocre, who would you want her to trust her life and children with? Exactly. So the goal here isn't bitterness, it's awareness. You can't blame a lion for hunting. You can't hate gravity for making you fall. And you can't resent female nature for doing exactly what it was designed to do. You adapt, you evolve, you rise. Because once you stop taking her instincts personally, you start playing the game like a strategist, not a victim. So yes, hypergamy can break your heart, but it can also sharpen your sword. Because now that you see the truth, you can stop playing in fantasy and start building the kind of life that commands respect, not just from women, but from the world. Now that you understand what drives hypergamy, the next question is obvious. How do you win in a game that seems rigged against you? You don't try to change the rules. You become the outlier who thrives in them. Because here's the truth. Hypergamy doesn't punish power. It punishes weakness. It doesn't leave the man who's leveling up. It leaves the man who's plateaued, who's lost the spark that made her believe in his future. So if you want to reverse engineer hypergamy and make her choose you over and over again, here's what you do. 1. Never become enough. The biggest mistake you can make is thinking there's a finish line, that once you've got the job, the girl, the car, you can coast. Wrong. Hypergamy doesn't care what you've done, it cares who you're becoming. So you must adopt a lifelong pursuit mindset. Always learning, always building, always moving forward. Because if you stop growing, her desire shrinks. 2. Become a source of emotional polarity. Women are emotional creatures. They don't fall in love with your resume. They fall in love with how you make them feel. Security matters, but so does mystery. Certainty matters, but so does challenge. You must master emotional polarity, the dance of masculine and feminine energy, the tension between safety and seduction. Give her stability, but don't become predictable. Give her love, but not dependence. Because when she feels that you are both solid and unreachable, her instincts lock in. She sees you as the prize, and she doesn't want to risk losing it. 3. Have options, even if you don't use them. Nothing spikes a woman's desire like knowing you're in demand. But this isn't about manipulation, it's about leverage. When you live in scarcity, begging for her attention, needing her validation, your value plummets. But when you operate from abundance, when you genuinely know your worth and have the discipline to walk away, she feels it. And suddenly, her instincts switch from "I could do better" to "I can't lose him." 4. Command. Don't convince, stop trying to prove yourself to women. Power isn't explained, it's embodied. Don't ask for respect, earn it. Don't justify your standards, live them. Don't debate your worth. Become undeniable, because women don't stay loyal to men who talk like kings. They stay loyal to men who move like kings. Hypergamy will test you every day in ways you don't always see, but that's the gift, because in being tested, you're forced to evolve. And the man who evolves, he becomes irreplaceable, not just in her eyes, but in his own. By now, you might be fired up. Maybe this video confirmed everything you suspected about women. Maybe it explained why your last relationship imploded, or why she suddenly stopped texting back. And if you're not careful, this is the part where you fall into the trap. The hypergamy trap. It doesn't look like a trap at first. It looks like clarity. You discover the truth about female nature, and for the first time, everything makes sense. You feel powerful, like you've cracked the code. But soon that clarity turns into bitterness. You start hating women for being exactly what they were designed to be. You stop trusting, you stop growing, you stop becoming the man she could desire, not because she's the goal, but because you're the kind of man who naturally inspires it. Instead, you wallow in red pill rage. You post blacked-out profile pics and quote Nietzsche without reading him. You scream about female nature while secretly craving her validation more than ever. You've stopped evolving. And that's the real danger of hypergamy. Not just that it can destroy your relationships, but that it can destroy you if you misinterpret it. Hypergamy isn't an excuse to quit the game. It's a blueprint for how to play it better. Because when you truly understand it, you don't blame women for being selective. You respect it. You see it as the ultimate filter, designed by nature to sharpen men, to force them to rise, to conquer their demons, and to become leaders worth following. And if you stay stuck in rage, in self-pity, in all women are this ideology, you miss the whole point. Because the purpose of this awareness is not to turn you into a nihilist. It's to make you a creator, a man who doesn't beg for loyalty, but inspires it. A man who doesn't need her to stay, but becomes someone she doesn't want to leave. A man who, if left, still walks with purpose, with dignity, with fire, because she was never the mission, you were. So yes, hypergamy is real. Yes, it can be ruthless. But the worst response isn't to surrender, it's to stagnate, to let your pain turn to poison. Because in that state, you're not a threat to the system. You're just another man it swallowed. Now that you see it, really see it, you have a choice. You can become a man who resents the game, or a man who masters it. Hypergamy is not your enemy. It's the arena. It's the pressure that exposes weakness, yes, but it also forges greatness. Because if you can understand this one law, that women are wired to choose the highest value man available, then every area of your life becomes a training ground. Your body becomes strong, not to impress, but because power speaks without words. Your mind, sharpen it. A man who can't outthink his obstacles will always be enslaved by them. Your mission, make it bigger than her, bigger than love, bigger than validation. Because a man with a mission that consumes him doesn't chase women, he attracts them. He radiates purpose, direction, and intensity. And that, more than any trick or tactic, is what sets off her deepest instincts. Not because you need her, but because you've built a life that she wants to be part of. Remember this, hypergamy punishes stagnation, but it rewards evolution. So every time you feel frustrated, overlooked, disrespected, use it, not to rage, not to retreat, but to rebuild, stronger, smarter, more focused. Because when you become the man you were designed to be, female choice doesn't control you anymore. You control the frame, you lead the dance. And whether she stays or walks, you remain unshaken, because you didn't come here to beg for love. You came here to build a life so powerful, it becomes impossible to ignore. If this hits something deep, like the video, share it with a brother who needs to hear this, and subscribe to the channel. We're building something here, a community of men who don't run from truth, who use it. Support the mission using the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.